I did my speech on animal testing, mostly based on the medicine field, because there is some testing that goes on. Actually, there's a lot of testing that goes on for the fields of things such as like even technologies. There's a lot of makeup testing that goes up on animals, and there's lots of different various more controversial issues that I could have gotten into, but I figured if I spoke on medicine more, then you guys would be able to see the general idea that I was trying to get at. And so basically, in today's world of science, there's a continual strive to improve all aspects of human life. There's advances in medicine, technology, basically every field, because it's an ever-perpetuating movement of the information age that we do live in. And so, I mean, who doesn't love things that are easier, that are better, that are faster? So especially when it's concerning health, at least for me, I appreciate things that are trying to benefit us. And there's lots of medicines and discoveries that are being made and tested on animals. And before I get too far into it, I kind of want to point out that there's two sides to the debate, which is there's people who are completely against animal testing, and there's people who are for it. And the reasons being is because there's people who believe in animal welfare, which is that animals should be treated with ethical and humane treatment. And there's people who believe in animal rights, which put animals on the same moral plane as humans. And so basically, people who believe in animal rights are saying that if you won't test it on a human, why will you test it on an animal? And there's been lots of actual medicine and research done on animals in a humane fashion that have been huge benefits to us as humans. And a couple of them are the discovery of insulin in the 20s. It was actually tested on dogs and researched on dogs. Development of open heart surgery and pacemakers in the 50s, which was again on dogs. The human genome was actually advanced and made possible through research on fruit flies and worms, which are not really animals, but they are technically. And the development of chemotherapy in the 50s on monkeys, rabbits, and rodents. And what's kind of funny is that they also research carcinogens, which are things that cause cancer, on the same kind of animals. And it's kind of ironic that they developed chemotherapy on the same animals that they developed cancer on. But there's various vaccines and antibiotics. There's actually a huge list that I found on a website that I can give you guys, but I didn't want to go too deep into those because there's a really big list of them. And these are all things that are helping to save lives daily, and I think it should be appreciated that animals are being put out there to save those lives and make it possible for those lives to be saved. And one of the more remarkable stories I found was about Tiny the mouse. Actually, he's a mouse where genes were put into stem cells, and then those stem cells were put into an embryo, but the embryo only had enough genetic makeup to develop up to a placenta. But the remarkable part is that he developed into a full-grown tiny mouse. And of course, stem cells in and of itself can be its own debate, but I think that, I mean, the possibilities of the research that we're doing on animals is just basically limitless. And so, I mean, of course, to be fair, I do admit that not all facilities that do the animal testing treat the animals in a humane fashion, and there's mistreatment that goes on, such as there's improper sheltering of the animals. Some of the monkeys that researchers have been doing tests on have been getting frostbite. They have to get their tails cut off. There's no supervision of sedated animals, which the animals actually end up injuring themselves because there's no supervision. So either they'll be on a high ledge or something and they'll fall off because they're too sedated to know what's going on. There's plenty of unethical, unclean testing procedures where researchers will use the same utensils, same equipment on different animals, which can lead to different diseases and bacterial infections. There's a lack of sedation and a lack of painkillers for treatments and tests that involve pain. There's, of course, the biggest one, there is death of the actual animal itself, which is, I'm not a fan of testing that can result in that, so don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not a fan of something that could possibly end up in the death of an animal. But I do support the fact that there is research that is being conducted in clean, humane facilities that are going with the animal rights and that are providing benefits for humans all around the world. And I think that as long as animal welfare is respected, there is benefits for, I mean, everybody here. I'm sure there's family members, people you might have known, that have some of the different problems that I listed before that have been benefited by animal research. So I think that definitely if in the right conditions and in the right places, animal testing can be a benefit to humankind.